We got the speed, we're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and...
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to Shake, Rattle, and Troll this morning. We're coming down to the vote. A couple of days we're voting for the future of the country. Donald J. Trump doing a fine job. Donald Trump Jr., we're going to have a little interview with him. He was in the studio last week, and we're going to replay that for you and then share some thoughts with you from some of our Colorado sportsmen's friends. Had Donald Trump Jr. up there last week, so doing a good job. A couple things we're going to go over today. We've got, unfortunately, a very lengthy roll call today. We have 6 fallen officers from this past 10 days or so. We have 5 fallen soldiers over in the Middle East, various things going on. So anyway, breaking news out of San Diego. The fish are still biting, and that's a good thing. Not a lot of people are running. So we're getting good news out of Captain Bill. Just a little update on him. He has had one knee replaced. He says one leg shorter than the other, which is kind of interesting. So he has to walk on the port side of the boat so he can walk straight. He's doing pretty good. About the 14th of the month, he's going in and going to have the other knee replaced. So a few weeks, he ought to be up and running full strength. Good stuff. JK is not in the house today. He and Don McDowell Jr. are they're loose in the woods, which scares me to death. Yeah. I know, Josh. It's just crazy. JK's on the call. Donnie's on the compound boat prepared by Joey Notch at Lookout Mountain. Joey's on his way up to 5B North. His one of his boat techs has I think he's third bull elk tag. Has not fired a shot yet, so Joey's going to go talk to elk like JK's talking to elk. And between those two, man, those guys are just awesome when it comes to calling elk. JK pretty much depends on a cow call, does a great job with that. Joey's trades up with a bugle, calling satellite bulls in and making the challenge. The weather's been pretty gnarly up there. It's been pretty wet the last couple days. Actually here in Phoenix, and then up on the rim, it's been getting deluged. Talked to Donnie last night. It was pretty wet. So anyway, as we go through the show today, we're going to be talking to Paula Pedene. Is coming down for the second hour. She is the director of the Phoenix Annual Veterans Day Parade. We will be involved with the M923A2, the Vigilant Resolve, which is a military 5-ton that actually was in the first military operation in Fallujah of 2004. Was a gun support truck. I bought the truck after it was demilitarized, and that it had a 50 caliber turret on it, and that the government didn't want me to have that, so they took it off for some reason.
I can't imagine why. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. The worst I'm going to do is put a 22 up there, so it's all good. But the breaking news out of San Diego, the yellowtail and yellowfin are still biting. The San Diego dock totals for yesterday, the trips have been pretty slight. They had 4 boats out on 5 trips, 126 anglers taking advantage of the boats running. They had just a whole bunch of rockfish, 22 yellowtail, 10 whitefish, which is a good thing, very tasty, 8 yellowfin, and a sheephead. Now, the boat's running out of H&M Landing. Apparently, Malahini didn't run yesterday. The half-day boat premiere ran. They were just doing rockfish in U.S. waters. Was pretty interesting. The Kenny on the Daiwa Pacific ran an overnight trip with 15 guys. They had 22 yellowtail, 8 yellowfin tuna, which is, this time of year, really, really, really good. We kind of expected to see this thing start to taper off about the end of October, which it has. The fish are still there. There's still a good grade of yellowfin floating around out past the 43, which is it's kind of a boat ride, but not too bad. The H&M Landing dock count turns out 3 boats. The Premier, the Daiwa Pacific, and the Real Champion. Real Champion's kind of a short boat. They run 6 packs, if you will. They run a half-day morning trip out to the reef. They got a bunch of rockfish, so they end up with 4 trips, 112 anglers, 22 yellowtail, 8 yellowfin, and 133 rockfish. So that's good stuff. We've got the ADA banquet coming up in February. You can go online and check azdeer.org. We should have, from all accounts that I've looked at, we've got just a plethora of high-grade firearms for the raffles, bucket raffles, silent auction items, and a lot of good stuff. So a couple things I want to share with you. We've been talking to our friends from Big Game Forever and Sportsmen for Trump up in Colorado. And you've heard us talk about the 3 S's, shoot, shovel, and shut up. Well, Donald Trump and these guys have come up with Don Trump's 3 S's, which is Second Amendment, Supreme Court, and solidarity. Something you guys need to think about. Everything that we stand for, our heritage, and the things that we hold near and dear certainly are at risk with the Democrat nominee. And a little breaking news out of Fox this morning. Apparently, Hillary has been having her housemaid, nice Filipino lady, print off and deal with her emails. So, something to think about. I don't know that we need domestic help handling classified material in the country. So, right now, Josh, have you got that 3S keyed up? Yeah, let's go into that. I want to share what the guys up in Colorado are talking about, and then we'll share with you a couple of things from those guys, the sportswomen and sportsmen from Colorado supporting Donald J. Trump.
Here in Colorado and across the West, folks know the significance of the term the 3 S's, but there's another 3 S's that's more significant for this presidential election. And they stand for the Second Amendment, the Supreme Court, and our sovereignty. These 3 S's stand for the heart and soul of our Constitution and who we are as a free people. If the left wins this election, we'll be enslaved to an administration that will push to take our guns, appoint liberal judges to the Supreme Court, and make us subject to UN rules and policies, foreign countries determining our destiny. Now, some folks say that this is a scare tactic. Well, the current administration's been pushing these agendas for 8 years, and we as Americans can't let that happen. Donald Trump has pledged to defend our Second Amendment, to secure our Supreme Court, and to maintain our sovereignty. We have a responsibility to protect those 3 S's. There are over 47 million sportsmen and sportswomen across this nation, and there's nearly 1 million of us here in Colorado. Folks, it's time that each and every one of us take a stand, and we encourage 3 or 4 other citizens to stand with us. Colorado has 9 electoral votes. If we win Colorado for Donald Trump, then we win this election. We need to join him to protect our Second Amendment, our Supreme Court, and our sovereignty. We're asking each and every one of you to vote for Donald Trump and let's make America great again.
All righty, there you have it from Denny Brands from Sportsman for Trump out of Colorado Grand Junction. We're going to flip into a break. When we come back, we'll keep moving. Shoot and move.
Hi, I'm Denny Behrens, Colorado Chair for Sportsman for Trump. It's imperative that we elect a president that understands the legacy that sportsmen and sportswomen have given to this country. Donald Trump does. This presidential election is critical to the future of our hunting and fishing heritage. Here's what some of our friends have to say about the fundamental issues of this election.
As an outfitter and as a small businessman in this part of the world, we've got our challenges. A dead and dying forest is certainly one of them. But we've got to have access, equal access for all Americans to our public lands in order to continue to be viable businessmen and to continue to be assets to the economy of Western Colorado. I've heard a conversation with Donald Trump Jr., and I understand that he and his brother are both avid sportsmen that are highly and keenly interested in what's going on in our national forest and on our public lands. And we absolutely must elect someone that cares and will seek sensible solutions to responsible management of our public lands.
Hi, I'm Amy Schaefer. I'm a Colorado small business owner. I'm a hunter and a farmer. I'm a landowner, a wildlife activist, and a mother. And right now I'm not concerned with the he said, she said rhetoric going on this presidential campaign. What I am worried about is Washington telling me what I can and cannot do or eat based on public opinion.
Hi, I'm Mia Anstein. I am a wife, a mom, a business owner, and a conservationist. I cherish my time in the outdoors, on our public lands, hunting, fishing, hiking, and enjoying all of God's creation. I am not a single issue voter, but I will instead place my vote based on more than one. First and foremost is our freedom to religion and our rights to practice it. This year and always, remember to protect our wildlife, protect our public lands, and our passions. You're voting for more than a president. You're voting for a Supreme Court. This year, I'm heading to the polls, and I'm voting for Trump.
This November, please join me in making the right choice to protect our outdoor heritage, rights, and freedoms, and vote Donald Trump for president.
I will vote for the Trump-Pence ticket.
There are 1 million sportsmen and sportswomen in the state of Colorado, and over 47 million of us across America. Each and every one of us has a responsibility to protect our lifestyle and our hunting and fishing heritage. We're asking you to make America great again. We're asking you to vote for Donald Trump.
And if you're interested to know how many of us there are in Arizona, there are about 800,000 hunters, anglers, and sportsmen. Chief of Staff, Cat Thor, is in the house. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Don.
Did you get caught up with the gay parade closure?
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, Bob. We have to put up with that a couple times a year. I'm glad you're here. We're stumping for Trump a little bit this morning. So we've got a message from actually Donald Trump himself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we got this in. It's a pretty good rant. And then at the bottom of the hour when we come back, we're going to have a Trump interview that you were instrumental in. I'm glad you were here. I felt safe.
I'm glad I could help.
He felt safe. Did you see the ruckus in Reno, Nevada last night at the Trump?
No, what happened? What happened?
I don't know. Some dumbass right in front of the stage, and we saw this up at Prescott Valley. They start acting up. They're the guys at the DNC hires. They start acting up. They whisk Mr. Trump off for just a couple of minutes, and the Secret Service was like him on a monkey on a Twinkie. Man. All right. Well, here's a message from Donald J. Trump. So we've got a choice. So listen up, guys.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented. And the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family. Instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks, who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
All righty, we're back. Cat Thor, you are certainly a patriot. I want to thank you for your service and all the things that you do. November 8th, coming up, we have a choice here in Arizona for the country. Here's my take on it. We build a wall, drain the swamp, lock her up, and make America great again, or we make America Venezuela. The bottom line. I mean, that's the way it's going to go. What's your take on this real quick?
Well, Donald Trump is the only candidate that we can actually vote for that's going to maintain our national sovereignty, right?
Yep.
You need three things. I mean, he's made it perfectly clear. Three things that you need to dissolve a nation's sovereignty: free flow of people, free flow of commerce, and a common currency.
All right, let's hear what Don Trump Jr. has to say about hunting and fishing opportunities under Mr. Trump. Don McDowell and John Colazar here at Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Appreciate you joining us. We've got a really special guest. Don Trump Jr. is in the house visiting with us. As you know, the Arizona polls are up in Trump's favor. We're not a swing state anymore. I think we're going Republican. I know you've got a busy schedule. Thanks for coming in. And before we get started, I know you and Eric are quite the hunters and fishermen. Who's a better fisherman, you or Eric?
I think fishermen. I have to take that one because I do a lot more fishing. Eric's an incredible shooter. You know, we're both competitive shooters as well. We both avid hunters. I do a lot more fishing when hunting season isn't on. So I probably got the fishing one a little bit.
Well, you're in good company. That's what we do. I'm hearing rumors you shot a whitetail buck with a pistol at 150, 70 yards. Is that a true story?
It is. I have a couple. I'm sort of into some of the specialty pistols as well. So I have a couple of the old Remington XPs, and I do all my own hand loading. I'm a competitive long range shooter. So, I have my go-to deer gun is usually actually a 7mm 08 Thompson Center Encore. And it's
nice.
It's a great little gun. It adds that extra challenge because it's a lot harder to obviously support a handgun when you're hunting. So I like to keep it challenging.
That's good stuff. Let's get started. Let's talk about Mr. Trump. We've been lobbying pretty hard here in the state of Arizona with the Republicans and sportsmen. We've got roughly 800,000 sportsmen here that we hunt, we fish, we vote, and most all of us are Republicans. We've got some concerns nationally. We've got BLM management by restriction, the Forest Service same way. We've got greater sage grouse. The guys on the left want to restrict 165 million acres in 11 states. Going into this, what's Mr. Trump's thoughts on protecting the sportsmen in our heritage?
Well, listen, it's been an honor for me. I'm such an unlikely candidate to be the person, out there speaking for sportsmen. I'm the son of a rich guy from New York, but it was such an important part of my life. Growing up, I always say that because I was in a tree stand at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I was in a duck blind at 4:30 in the morning, it kept me out of a lot of other trouble I would have gotten into otherwise. And so, we want to preserve the great tradition of the outdoors, of hunting and fishing, and certainly shooting. And I always say for me that if I can get a kid off a couch and away from a video game and into the woods or on a stream or on a range, I'm doing them a big service for life. So we got to keep our public lands public. We're actually going away from a lot of the Republican, dogma on that. We want to keep our public lands open and public. Now, we believe that we can use them for multi-purposes. I mean, we can take advantage of the energy that's in our ground. We can do these things, but we got to keep them open to the public, because if you had a place that you used to hunt that was 20 minutes away from your home and now you have to drive 3 hours, well, guess what? You're going to take up golf. You're going to take up a different hobby. It's been such an important and vital part of, my life, my brother's life growing up. We got to preserve that tradition. We got to keep it alive at all costs, and that makes sure that we're taking advantage of our public lands and making sure that they're accessible to the public.
Well, we have a federal fault line, let's say west of the Mississippi. Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Nevada especially, is 85% public lands.
Yes.
And there's been some fallout on Mr. Dahl and Mr. Trump had a conversation, and obviously some negative press that he's flip-flopping on public lands. But my point is, you can't come up with a solution in a 3-minute interview on public lands.
No, but, what I think the sportsmen have to know and what they have known. I mean, I was a speaker at the NRA show, speaking at, I'm a member of Boone and Crockett, probably the youngest member that they have on there. I mean, this is a big part of our lives. This is a big part of what we do. I've been on the political trail now for a lot, so it's funny. They say, well, you're at a shoot with some other politician, right? I'm like, yeah, you mean the guy with his finger on the trigger with the safety off pointing his barrel at someone? It's like, that guy's not a sportsman. Okay, he doesn't, there's a difference between showing up for the photo op and actually being a sportsman, actually living the lifestyle. And we actually live that lifestyle. And I think, the sportsmen that I've seen around the country, they get it. They see when I talk about hunting, whatever hunting it may be, when I talk about reloading, when I talk about competitive shooting, they're like, wait a minute, that guy knows what he's talking about. He actually is speaking for us. And it's been great because those guys are going to turn up. The hunters, the fishermen, if you have a cold day, especially up north in some of the swing states, we have a little bit more of a weather issue than here. Well, guess what? On November 8th, if it's raining and snowing, that's our comfort zone. They're going to turn up.
We have 2 seasons, big summer and little summer.
Exactly. It's a little different, but, the outdoors has been an amazing thing to me, and we're going to preserve it.
I have a question. In terms of, I know that your father has always supported the fact that, number one, he does not hunt, but number two, he has thoroughly supported all of his children if they so desire to hunt, which is what we want from the rest of the public in the United States.
That's all it is. I mean, listen, he was a boy from Queens, right? He didn't have the opportunities that I had, but, my grandfather got me into hunting. He was a blue-collar guy. Yeah, he was a blue-collar electrician from what was then communist Czechoslovakia, right? Yeah. So he was, just a regular, ordinary guy, and he saw the lifestyle that we were growing up in New York, and he said, that's great. You have a lot of advantage. You have a lot of, incredible opportunities with this, but you should also see the other side. And him and my father spoke about it quite a bit. And so from about the age of 5, he took me every summer for 5-6 weeks. I spoke the language fluently because he was a big part of my life. And he basically brought me over there and said, there's the woods. I'll see you at dark. And so, I fell in love. And you couldn't hunt over there because you weren't, he wasn't a Communist Party elite guy. He wasn't. But, I spent so much time in the woods. He taught me how to shoot an air gun. He taught me how to shoot a bow. And then I got into it here. And then I had so many people along the way that served as mentors. And that's why I'm so vocal about it. And I've been attacked for being a hunter. And I didn't do the usual, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. I fought back and said, hey, conservationists, this is what they did. We have these public lands. We have the fauna and flora that we have in this country because of conservationists that are hunters are the original conservationists, starting with Roosevelt.
Right.
And so, I fought back and I took it. And so many people have been great mentors to me. That's why now that perhaps I have a platform where I can talk about it and I can talk about the benefits of the outdoors and what it's done for me in my life and what it's going to do for my kids that are all outdoors on every weekend. We don't spend any weekends in New York City. I haven't spent a weekend in New York City in over a decade. We get up, we go to my cabin in the Catskills. They're riding ATVs, they're fishing, they're all shooting. The 2-year-old hasn't shot yet, but all the other ones have.
That's the way it should be.
It's been so beneficial in my life. We got to talk about it and we got to preserve it and not back down to these people who try to vilify what we do.
Well, we're concerned like the rest of the country. We've got national security issues. We've got a hell of an open border here in the southern part of the state. We've got a Department of Homeland Security demarcation line and 25,000 plus square miles where it's not safe to hunt because of the illegals coming over, the drug trafficking. We've got monuments here that we're probably going to get when Mr. Lame Duck goes into December. Bears Ears, 1.9 million acres in Utah, another monument. Northern Arizona, we're getting 1.7, it looks like, 446,000. And this is all by executive orders. Mr. Trump ready to attack those executive orders.
Well, he's spoken about that a lot. I mean, whether it's those executive orders or the ones that they've put in place on gun control, which basically only limits law-abiding citizens, does nothing against the actual problem. We won't talk about actually having penalties for people who commit crimes with guns. We'll talk about trying to limit your and my rights because we're the only ones that are actually going to play by those rules. So my father's talked about that extensively. Obviously, each case is an individual one, but these places where they're overreaching, where they're trying to limit hunters' access to do the things that we love, and that's what we got to remember. And that's why, part of my message when I'm talking to hunters, when I'm talking to shooters, when I'm talking to fishermen is, your hobby is hunting, fishing, shooting, and so many of those guys say, I don't want to mix politics with it. It's special to me and it's sacred, and I get that. It is for me too. But the other side, their hobby is messing with your hobby. Nice. It's infringing on your hobby. It's infringing on your rights. It's infringing on, they're basically hunting your freedoms and your ability to do the things that you love, the things you want to do with your kids, the things you want to pass on from generation to generation. So you got to get out and vote. You got to be vocal about it. You can't let, the media and the liberals and the people on Facebook try to paint you in a bad corner because you're a hunter. It's ridiculous. We have to preserve that tradition.
Well, the Dems are trying to, Supreme Court's a big deal for us right here. I mean, we're talking about, a full generation if that goes south.
Well, you probably never recover from that.
No, I don't. How could we?
Because the kids, the next generation, they grow up with this liberal, activism off the bench, and it just becomes sort of the norm. So this isn't a 4 or 8 year election. This is actually a 30 or 40 year election. When you look at we're not just replacing Scalia, who was, by the way, the tiebreaker in the 5-4 Heller decision, which was just basically, hey, you're allowed to have a gun in your home. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's all Heller said. Right? And that was a 5-4 decision that you could have a gun in your home. And Hillary Clinton says the Supreme Court got that one wrong. I mean, think about what that means. I mean, the Second Amendment, right after freedom of speech and religion, this wasn't some afterthought our founding fathers thought of later on.
No.
I mean, it was the second thing that they said in their minds. Like, we got to protect that right so that people can defend themselves. That my wife, when I'm traveling on the road, can maybe take care of my 5 children and protect them in the event that someone much meaner, much bigger, much more aggressive, with much less of a moral compass decides to try to do harm or try to break into our house. I mean, that's not even contestable to me. I don't even know how it's a political firestorm. So, we have to get out and we have to be heard, because if we're not, it's going to be gone, and it's going to be gone soon.
Well, there's one way for her to get the message is take all of her secret security away, take all of her guns, and let her go out and travel like John Q. the plumber.
Well, listen, it's even, I see it in, I live in the People's Republic of New York, right? And I'm a competitive high-power shooter, right? So a lot of that stuff is going to be based off an AR platform. I can't even buy an AR in New York anymore. I can't bring one into the state. I mean, I have some grandfathered in because I had them obviously before, but you can't even have that in New York anymore. So I've seen how quickly those rights can disappear, how quickly they can be pulled away from you. And by the way, it's always written by someone who's never been on a range, who's never fired anything. They don't even know what it is. They don't know the difference between semi-automatic, fully automatic. They wouldn't know a muzzle from a trigger, and yet they're legislating. I mean, when the SAFE Act, quote unquote, was passed in New York, literally every police officer in the state was committing a felony because they had full capacity magazines in their service, in their service guns going into work the next day. But you had people that had no idea. They're writing laws with something they don't understand. And I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
One of the big pushes, one of JK's passionate buttons, Endangered Species Act, with all the listings that don't need to be listed. Any thoughts on that?
Well, listen, everything is case by case. I mean, there are things that deserve to be on there, and the things that they're using it as a scapegoat to try to prevent you from getting there otherwise.
Yeah.
Obviously, sage grouse is something that you got to protect it in a way, but you don't have to block off, a quarter of the country and say you can't do any oil development, you can't do any. I mean, we have to be able to take advantage of the things that are on our ground, and there's no reason. We've seen it in some of the states where they've done that. The big potash mine in Utah that was reclaimed and redone. It's like it holds more elk and it holds more mule deer and more sheep than it ever did before it was developed and utilized. So we have to be able to utilize the natural resources that we have. That's jobs, that's our economy, and more importantly, it's national security. Okay, if we're energy independent and we're not beholden to these countries in far-off lands that if they could push a button would wipe us off the face of the earth forever, people who can't stand our values, can't stand anything that we do, we're more concerned about, keeping them employed. Why? Because they donated $25 million to the Clinton Foundation? It's ridiculous. We have to take care of ourselves first, and we have to make sure that we're utilizing these things. I'm not saying it should be done haphazardly. There's ways to do it, but we have the technology to do that, and we have the ability to do that. We should be taking advantage of the resources that we have, putting our people to work, Americans. And these are the hardworking people in America that have just been forgotten by the political class. By the way, by the political class on both sides. I'd say that's a partisan problem, right? Yeah. The people in Washington, they've created all these problems. They have no idea how to fix them because they don't know what they're doing. They become politicians because they couldn't do it in the real world oftentimes. And then they get in there, they get stuck. All their friends are getting the jobs that should be going to other people. They're not even contested. We always knew about it. Now we're reading about it every day in WikiLeaks. The corruption is so rampant. It's disgusting. And, my dad's the guy that can shake that up. He can get in there, he can shake this thing up, and go back to what our founding fathers envisioned, which is, a person getting into government for the right reasons, doing it for a short amount of time, and then getting back into the real world, not parking themselves for 40 years, making promises they're never going to deliver, while stealing, cheating, lying, and selling American influence to the highest bidder for themselves.
It's just absolutely crazy what's going on here in Arizona. I'm really happy to see the poll switch today. I think we're definitely going to go Republican here.
Yeah, no, it feels good. I mean, I had such a great reception. It's an honor to be a small part of it for me. To go around and see so many people who've been so disaffected by the political system. So many people just
absolutely
angry. with what their politicians have, the position they've put us in. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you ran your household like these guys run this country, you'd be living on the streets, and yet it's okay for them to do it, and they keep getting reelected, and they keep adding more debt, and it doesn't work.
They keep running money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're spending your money. Yeah. They're not spending their own money. That's the difference.
Mr. Trump's, hit a roll hotspot with a lot of us here in Arizona. And that's the drain the swamp concept.
I love it. I agree.
It needs to be drained.
Term limits and preventing these guys at high level of government, people that know everything, that know everyone, that have our secrets, then going off and lobbying for Qatar, for Saudi Arabia, for these. I mean, think about that. I mean, we allow this to happen. They get into government basically so they can get a job working for the benefit of another country and make millions of it later on. It doesn't work.
Don, one of the things we've been fighting here is the lack of party unity. Mm-hmm. They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off, and they're going to pay a price for it.
I think they are, but you know what? You know why that is? Because both sides, like I said, listen, I'm a conservative guy. I think you've seen that. I think you've heard that.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, even a lot of the guys on the right, the ones that pull and they change their mind, they stomp their chest really loud and they beat their chest really loud, and then they go on the floor of the House or the Senate, and what do? They fold. Exactly. Each and every time, So it doesn't mean anything if you have no conviction. And so these guys have also gotten very rich off of this system.
Look,
so they see my father as a big threat because
they wanted the Senate.
Yeah.
They wanted the Congress.
Hey, they've had the House and the Senate. What have they done?
And they've not done anything.
You might the Democrats might as well have it because it's not like the Republicans have done anything with it. But so many of the Republicans, and some have been great, and some have been incredibly supportive from day one, whether it's Sessions, all these guys. But the others that just go, they see a system that has got them really rich too. It's not just the Democrats. This is a partisan problem. Yeah. And they say, hey, I don't want someone that's going to shake up this system. I'm really content with this lifestyle. I'm making a lot of money off the backs of the American people. I've got a lot of power. I'm going to do a lot of cool things. I don't want to give that up. So they see my father as a threat because he is a threat to that system. But that's a system that's failed the American people, and the American people have to think about that when they vote.
Well, he's got some awfully good endorsements with the NRA, the Border Patrol. I really applaud him for putting out his 100-day plan. Yeah. All the points, the Supreme Court nominees, whatever. It's solid.
Yeah. Well, we also got some great support from the hunting community. A lot of the guys, the big names in the hunting community, whether it's Waddell, all these other guys that have come out, that have just been like, hey, this guy gets it. This family understands our traditions and our lifestyle. So it's just been awesome. Waddell, Keith Mark, Cuz Strickland, really all these guys.
For anybody who's going into the political offices, I can't tell you I know one of the Bushes, Bush Sr., he did a little bit of bird hunting once in a while. But for somebody like yourself who is an advocate and who is so passionate about it, which we normally don't see anybody associated with politics in the D.C., the Beltway there, ever being involved in the hunting community. It's refreshing to know.
Well, there's a couple guys that know what they're doing, and then there's, like I said earlier, there's a couple guys that show up for the photo op.
Right.
I think we had a good one like that when I've hunted with the Robertsons are buddies of mine, and Jace and Willie and all those guys, and they took me out hunting, and that Willie was debating with his father about the presidency. He was like, well, who's the better shot? This is back during the primary. It's like, well, that boy from New York can shoot, and so I was like, that was the ultimate. When Phil Robertson's saying you're the best shooter they've had in a duck blind in 30 years, it was a pretty good compliment. So I'll take it.
Oh God, yeah, that's awesome.
Would you hunt with him?
Absolutely. I'll call for you any day.
Perfect. I love it.
This guy right here is probably the best elk caller in the state.
It. Yeah. Very nice. We'll have to change some pictures. I haven't done much hunting this year because right now we're hunting a bigger game kind of deal. But after November 9th, I look forward to getting back in the tree stand and doing a little bit more. But I had to cancel a couple good hunts that I was supposed to be on. This year because saving the free world's maybe a little bit more important. A little bit more. It's a close call, but
first the world, then the elk. Like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good priorities. Let's get this thing wrapped up. What are your final words to our sportsmen?
Listen, I think we've covered a lot of it, but I think the biggest thing is get out. Get your friends out. Hey, you want to believe if I'm real? Like, look me up. Look up me in hunting. You'll see plenty at this point, and know that we're going to be the voice in my father's ear as it relates to these issues, and make sure that we understand what the tradition of the great outdoors means in this country and what it means generation to generation. And I want to make sure that's around for my 5 young kids because I have 9, 7, 5, 4, and 2-year-old. And I want to get him out there. I mean, I actually had my 7-year-old son. I took him on a backpack hunt up in the Yukon, earlier this summer at 7. Because you know what? You put a kid in that kind of situation, and then they can rise to the occasion. This kid was like a little mountain goat, man. He was a stud. I couldn't believe it, and knowing full well that could ruin the hunt. I was out there actually with Mark Geist, one of the survivors from Benghazi, who's become a good friend of mine, and we had an awesome hunt up there for caribou and everything, and but having a little guy in a camp like that, he was one of the guys, and I think that can do a lot for the formative years of a kid. So just make sure that all the hunters get out, get their friends out, call your friends in the other swing states, in the places that matter. Be vocal about it, and more importantly, not just for this election, because the next 2 weeks, obviously, it's very selfish for me to say that, but hunters have to make their voices known. They have to get out there. They have to be vocal, because if they're vocal and they can show that, hey, we're going to show up, we're going to move the needle. We're going to move the needle in these elections, where it may matter even more on a state level in many cases, right? The politicians will actually start catering to you. If you hide, even if you show up but you're not vocal about it, they're not going to think about the issues that matter to you, that matter to us as outdoorsmen. So, it's not just about the presidency right now. This is all future elections. Get out, vote, be vocal. Make sure that our issues are heard, because if you're vocal about it and there's enough of us and we're talking about it, guess what? Politicians may actually listen.
I'd like to thank our Arizona guys with the onslaught from the left and the environmental litigants, as John likes to call them. As much noise as they've made, as much going backwards as we've had to put up with. We're taking the fight to Washington. We're taking the fight to the politicians. And my belief is the hunting community's just about had enough.
I agree.
Sierra Club, CBD, and all those guys.
Get involved now done. Before it's too late.
Let's go to November 9th. Seniors going to the White House. What do you have in store for yourself?
I'm going to a tree stand. Yeah, I've missed too many weekends on the road where I haven't been able to hunt. Where he's gonna do that. I'm gonna spend some time with my kids and start my hunting season a little bit late.
Good. Any political aspirations for yourself? I believe that you would be the best candidate for the Secretary of the Department of Interior.
Well, that was the big joke around the Christmas tables. That's the only thing I'd actually want. My father just said it's like the problem is he may just go off into the woods in Alaska, never to be heard from again, which would actually be rather tempting. So, I'll be involved certainly on the periphery, making sure that the right people are in place for that, make sure that these issues are heard. Again, for me, maybe someday with politics, probably after this process, now that I've seen how the sausage is made, I may have to take a good decade or so just to recover, because I guess when you're effective, they go after you, and they're going after me. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, I'll remember an interview, and they'll manipulate it so much. I was talking the other day, after the last debate, going in the spin room, and they're saying, well, what about this? I say, well, we're talking, and I say, the Clintons have made $250 million being politicians. They've never created a job, never done this, never done anything other than, sell our influence and peddle influence and yada, yada. I go, for my father, he's not going to do that. He's already made his fortune. When he goes to the White House, it's going to be a step down from salary. Trump Jr. says going to the White House is a step down. It's like, are you kidding? Like, it's so dishonest. You literally can't say anything right. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not even worth fighting it. Everything has been so sensationalized. So it's not at all what I said, but, the way they manipulate it, it makes it hard for someone who has a life and wants to live it and enjoys what he does already to want to get involved. At the same time, that look in someone's face when they see hope, that you can actually do that. And I've gotten to see that a lot on this trail. It's, so many of these people that are voting for us that, weren't even, conservative voters necessarily. They were Democrats that were their first time voters that have never voted in their lives. Every day come up to me and say, hey, we just registered last week so we can vote for you guys. You see that look of hope, and it does sort of say, maybe you just got to do it. Maybe you got to do it, and it'd be an honor to be able to do it one day.
Anything to add, Special K?
Yeah, I think the critical aspects of all that he's talked about is that while hunters and fishermen may disagree on certain items, it's very critical this year, of all years, that we all get out and vote. I've already done that. I'm an early ballot caster, so mine's done already, so I can be elk hunting next weekend, which is fine for me. But there's so many issues that are going to be facing us in the future. And the critical aspects of all of this is that if we don't have people who understand our needs, and obviously Donald does, that's the kind of thing that will eventually lay waste to us.
100%. And by the way, that's even within the hunting community.
Oh, I know.
'Cause I see that a lot. I mean, I see that back, I shoot bows, compounds, recurves, crossbows. I hunt with everything. But you have guys, the recurve guys, we don't want crossbows. You know what? I want someone in the woods.
Yes.
Someone in the woods, someone who's buying a license, it gives us critical mass. So I see a lot of even fighting within the community. You see that with some of the guys that like to shoot a little bit further than some of the other guys. It's like, you know what, guys? We're all after the same things. Maybe we do it a little differently. Maybe we do it whatever it may be, but we should all, make sure that we're banding together and really thinking about these things, because the infight, don't spend your money infighting. It doesn't make any sense. Let's protect the general notion of what we're trying to do.
Good words. All right, we're going to get this thing wrapped up. Listen, God love you. The best to Mr. Trump. Give me my regards. You've got our vote. Arizona's going to carry the Trumps to the hill.
I think so, man. Thank you guys very much.
I appreciate you coming down, Mr.
Thank you.
Trump. God love you.
Thank you, man.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
All righty, we're back. Welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. You have my thoughts on Donald J. Trump. Build a wall, drain the swamp, lock her up, make America great, or make it Venezuela.
Not necessarily in that order.
Exactly. Exactly. Our special guest, Paula Pedene, is here. What is your correct title? You were the Grand Poobah of the Phoenix Veterans Day Parade?
Yeah, the parade coordinator.
I like Poobah.
Poobah, yes. Not to be confused with the Grand Wizard.
Right.
All righty, so this is your annual trek.
Yes.
A week prior, we're primping the 5-ton, the dues and half from the Coast Guard, and we had a meeting with the military minds at the AMBCC. Everybody's all excited, washing trucks. In fact, Kat, if you're not doing anything this afternoon,
I'm not washing your truck.
It takes about 4 hours to wash them. It's not too bad until you get down to Armor All on the tires. On a 6 week.
Those are big tires.
Oh, man. It's about a gallon of Armor All. Yeah, I'm saying.
Gosh.
So
I'll supervise.
Yeah, you do a fine job at that. Absolutely. All right, so the Veterans Day Parade is actually on Veterans Day this year. What a novel idea. Thank you for
always
arranging
on Veterans Day.
Well,
some others don't.
Yeah, I get it. It's like having the 4th of July on the 3rd
exactly.
out of Lake Pleasant. Okay, so give us a rundown. What's the parade route? How many entries? What are you expecting this year?
Okay, we have 100 entries. Good news is we will bring back the Purple Heart balloon this year.
Really?
It's been MIA the last few years with the changeover that we had. And we got it back this year and ready to go. So that'll be a nice balloon. And
How big is this balloon?
30 feet. Wow. That's 30 feet tall. The Uncle Sam is about 40 feet tall. And then the Eagle balloon has a wingspan of about 35 feet. So they take about 10 to 12 people to handle each balloon. And
if
they have
the wind's
line.
not blowing.
Right, yeah. And so far it says beautiful day.
Good.
Beautiful day.
Good.
Yeah, we've looked at the weather, so quick knock on wood. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have 7 marching bands. The Army National Guard Band will be back. And then we have a conservatory band, Fairfax Mountain Ridge High School. Those guys are awesome. They're real excited to be in the parade. And we have dozens of floats.
And the Coast Guard marching band.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Captain Dave, I believe, has the Coast Guard marching band in front of his...
You're kidding.
Dues and half. No.
Oh, I'll have to check. Make sure we have that in the script. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
if they want to come out early,
it's not a big band.
They
they have a flute and a harmonica, but no, I'm kidding. No. They do a good job.
Yeah. Is the panda coming with him this year, did he say?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's hard to keep up with the Coast Guard.
With the Coast Guard. Especially since we're so far away from water.
No, we take a lot of hit on that particular issue. We've got 7 lakes. Last year, to give you an idea, Flotilla 1011 ran 99 search and rescues at one lake, Saguaro Lake. We're on Saguaro most often just because it's high traffic lake. We've got boats on Roosevelt periodically, 10-7s over at Lake Pleasant, and then there's a flotilla up on Lake Havasu. You would be surprised at the amount of water that we have that we patrol, and there's regular Coast Guard up on Lake Powell.
Wow. See? Did not know all that.
It's a big deal. It truly is. The guys we run patrol darn near every weekend in some fashion or another. So it's
You know what, Don? Next year, when the call for Grand Marshals comes out, I'll email you. Because I think we've only, in 20 years, the parade is 20 years old this year, I think we've only had one Coast Guardsman as a marshal.
Really?
One. Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be nice to have them represented as well.
That would be certainly an honor.
Yeah.
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 We interact a lot with San Diego sector, District 11, SR. We're under their jurisdiction, and periodically, on heavy weekends, you'll find regular Coast Guard running the Colorado River in and around Lake Havasu, Mojave, and Lake Mead.
Wow.
So there's a huge contingent. It's kind of like a secret.
Right. Yeah.
But we're out there interjecting with the public.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I know, me neither.
No
Yeah,
we always learn
safety.
something.
Well, we had. I think
Thanks.
they were involved. 10-11 was involved. I believe, if my numbers are right, 4 search and recoveries for drownings, boat accidents, that kind of thing. And one of the things that is kind of a pet peeve for me, we've got about 176,000 active registered watercraft in the state. Less than 3% of those folks have been to a boating safety class. So it's like, here's a problem. You've got a jet ski that'll run 70, 80 miles an hour that a 12-year-old can drive, and that happens a lot. Would you hand your keys to your new Corvette to a 12-year-old?
No.
I mean, this is the kind of, I've had a up close and personal encounter with a 12 and a 10-year-old on a jet ski ride that T-boned one of my bass boats up at Bartlett. And the injuries were minor, but my bass boat went up over the top of a personal watercraft. And that I hate them. It's just like, you almost need to have a IQ test before you buy a personal watercraft. And it's coming down to the point that we've got 5 of the most dangerous lakes in the nation, Lake Pleasant being one of those, Havasu right up there on top of the list. And boating safety is paramount. Just in personal flotation devices, drinking and driving your boat, and just a lot of things. I mean,
why don't they have like mandatory? Like,
well,
for example, we have to have a driver's license.
I'm gonna take it in the teeth. We're in the process of authoring. I think we have 34 states that have mandatory boat operations license. We're going to bring that back on the ballot the next year. California's got it. They did a good job. They break it down by age categories and give it like a 3 or 5 year period for each category to go get your
boating license.
Yeah. It's a condensed. Some of them are 8-hour courses. We offer a free 8-hour course along with game and fish. But now we're kind of getting off point. But anyway, back to you.
So, and then in addition to the bands and the Coast Guard band, we're going to have dozens of floats. And the floats that, always seem to go the extra mile are actually the Department of Corrections float.
Well, they have a lot of free help.
They do. The inmates do work on it. And you know what's really nice, I think, about building a float is that there is a lot of camaraderie that gets built on that when
Good
you're
stuff.
working on that.
Yeah, especially if
Takes
Sheriff Joe's got them in pink underwear. Nice. All right, hey, we're going to flip into a break when we come back more with Paula. And what's your new title?
New title?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you going to call me this week?
I don't know.
Grand Poobah?
I like Chief of Staff.
Yeah.
I like that. This is the only guy that I would trust my back to right here.
Tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
The eve of destruction.
How appropriate.
Is November 7th.
Yeah.
Here's my tie-in. You remember the 60s at all? I know you do.
Only in history books.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of things that you won't read in the history books about the 60s. But, Paula, here's the deal. I always thought it would be great if the 60s would come back. And everybody says, nah, they're never coming back. But here's the deal. Beads are back. Tie-dyed T-shirts are back. Bell-bottom jeans are back. And
so are mini skirts. You'd be happy with that.
Thank goodness for that. I hadn't noticed those.
Oh, yeah. Those are back.
Thanks for pointing that out to
prom.
me. I'll have to pay closer attention. How about you, Kat? Yeah. And here's the deal. The guys that were protesting in the 60s are now the Democrats that are doing the sit-in in the Congress.
And they still haven't showered.
Yeah. It's come full circle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, just an observation. Miniskirts. Wow.
You know what? It was so weird. We were, I was at a conference in Indianapolis. We were out to dinner, and they were having their prom that night. And, the couples came in from the high school, and the girls were like, it was like shorts. I mean, high shorts. So.
It's like micro skirt.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't noticed any of that.
Let's see if it catches on here. They're a little bit more East Coast, Indianapolis, even though it's central, but they get the wave.
Well, Donald Trump's talking about building a wall, but, what we're going to suggest they build a wall on the southern border, and then they build another wall on the California-Arizona border. All right, so what time's the parade kick off? When do the folks need to be seated along the parade route, which would be what?
So the parade route is south on Central, starting at Montebello. It turns east on Camelback Road, and then turns south on 7th Street, and it destages at Indian School Road. And the time they need to be there is at 11. It starts sharply at 11 a.m.
Okay, so, they need to come in around 10 and get seated.
10:30, yeah.
Kind of hang out.
Yeah, because it's a sunny day, so be sure to wear your sunscreen, hats, bring an umbrella, your chairs, those kinds of things. Yeah, it's supposed to be sunny and beautiful.
I'm not getting out of the truck. I hope.
No, I hope not either. I hope that truck makes it all the way down.
I just hope the truck makes it to the parade.
Exactly.
that is my worst nightmare in the
guy.
flesh right there is, oh my God, don't stall, don't have a flat, don't, have the brakes lock up. Oh, the things that go through your mind are just nuts.
It's crazy.
And to think that's a military vehicle.
Yeah.
Designed for combat.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the issue is it's going so slow. Because the parade moves
It is. That
slow,
truck does
and
not
that's
like to
what
creep.
heats up, the engines. And,
the slower it goes, the hotter it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys always have a theme that's very well presented. What is your theme this year?
This year's theme is Welcome Home, Vietnam Heroes.
Nice.
Yeah. We're every year we honor a different era of veterans. So we started a few years ago with World War II. This year we're at Vietnam. And our team just really thought long and hard about that theme for them. And I think it's important for them because they did not get the welcome home that they truly deserved. They did deserve it. I mean, I'm so glad to see our country has changed from that time frame where we didn't support the soldier. Doesn't matter what we think about the war.
Yeah,
but we have to support those who put their lives on the line for us so we have our freedom. That, to me, that's the most important thing. So trying to welcome them back. And we've got about 20 of them that are actually going to receive a commemorative dog tag. The governor and the
21. I have one and one behind the 5-ton.
Okay. Well, if they want to come to the breakfast, we're actually going to be presenting them with the commemorative dog tag at the
outstanding.
breakfast. Yeah. So if you send me his name, I'll get him on the list. But they're going to have the presentation there, just so we do something special, for them.
Well, we need to, we interact with a number of Vietnam veterans. One that's going to be in the parade is Sean Dale's dad. He was there from, I want to say, 64 to 67. And he's having all the issues that a lot of the Vietnam guys have. Good friend Vern Bagley. I know you met Vern.
Yes.
He was a lieutenant, and Vern kind of summed it up. He said, "Listen, I've been a son of a bitch for 40 years, and I didn't know why until I was diagnosed with PTSD. Doesn't make it okay, but now he understands." He just wrote a book that we advertised for Vern, and Vern has, like Mr. Dale, he's got congenital heart failure. He got squirted with Agent Orange, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And now after Vern's pushing 70, I want to say.
Yeah, they are.
And he's just now, after 40 years, like he said, he's just now getting himself under control, and being the lieutenant that he was, he still does everything he's not supposed to. Not supposed to be drinking and smoking. I get a call at 4:30 in the afternoon. He's on the porch drinking wine, smoking a cigar.
I'm going over to his house.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a total trip. I took him to the lake in the 2.5 ton, the M35A2. I said, "Do you have any problem riding in this?" He goes, "No." I said, "You're not going to have a flashback or anything on me, are you?" He goes, I don't think so. We made it about 2 miles, and he's Vern's not, but he's about your size. He's got his knees in the seat, looking in the back of the truck. I said, "Everything okay?" He goes, "Oh yeah. Yeah, I just have to check on those guys. You know how they are. They're always acting up." I go, "Oh God." It was a long trip, but that was one of the few times that Vern got to ride the front of a M35.
Nice.
So, and actually, that truck was, big giant flash. It was 1970 Vietnam era. It didn't serve in Vietnam. It served in Kuwait, running fuel and material back and forth out of Kuwait into Iraq. So it was interesting. So
well, and you know what, too, Don? Most people may not know this, but the Vietnam veterans and the Vietnam era are our largest living group of veterans in our country. So when we talk, and they do, about suicides, many people think that 20 a day, because now it's 20.
22
they got
a day.
There's new, a new study was done just this year that the most comprehensive study, they went back and reviewed tons of data. It is 20 a day.
That's
so
close.
it has gone down, fortunately, still 20 too many.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is our Vietnam vets. They're at that point where they maybe they're losing their houses, or they just haven't been able to get that grasp.
I get it.
So, yeah.
I get it.
And our VA is, I hate to say it, but they're narcotizing our soldiers.
Yeah.
They're narcotizing
the
with
prescription, yeah. And, that's one thing that I do think that Governor Ducey has taken the correct step on, is with the opioids. You cannot have them prescribing all that stuff all the time and thinking that it's going to be okay.
12 different drugs.
Yeah. No, we have to, and they have studies that show if you do the meditation, and if you do the yoga, if you do Tai Chi, if you do those kinds, even Pilates, you're going to, even if they run, any cardiovascular or any exercise where it gets the endorphins, going. And that's what we need to focus on, is how can we do this in an alternative fashion? That's what we need to focus on, I think. But So we got way off topic.
My lady does yoga for PTS.
They call it
See?
VA parade for a reason. And
No, it's a Veterans Day parade. Remember, the VA
well,
walked away from
I
the
understand
parade.
that, but we're big into acronyms. So, in fact, we were talking about the Coast Guard. I will invite you to the brunch. We have a United States Coast Guard brunch on November 12th.
Ooh,
after your parade. This is poolside at the Oakwood Country Club.
Ooh.
And one thing you'll have to like about the Coast Guard, they do nothing without a fine meal.
Oh, great. Okay.
And this is, let's see, it starts at 0900. And if you want more information on that, you can contact me, Don, at shakerattleandtroll.com. I'll put you in touch with Captain Dave for all the details. We're going to flip into a break. When we come back, we'll finish up with Paula and Cat. Cat Thor. That sounds like something you get between your toes at the gym, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, my God, I got Cat Thor.
Something I need Mucilix to get rid of.
All righty, we're back. Time to go fishing, Miss Paula, with our master rod builder, James Guggenauer from downtown Payson, where the weather is always, right now it's getting cold. James, what's the weather up there?
The weather last night was 36 degrees, and we have, I won't call it frost, but I'll call it heavy dew on the ground and on the vehicles, and it's setting in.
Let me give you a heads up from Noah. If it looks like ice, it's beyond frost, okay?
Is that the official?
Dew is not going to cover it. So
if it looks like ice, smells like ice, tastes like ice.
yeah.
It is ice.
All right. So is the elk bugling in the backyard? All the boys are up hunting.
I think the rut for around the area is pretty much over. I don't hear that anymore. I'm seeing single bulls again with no cows. So I think we're on the, no pun intended, the back end of the here.
Ooh, ow. All right. Yep, I'm totally with you. Well, if you see, a large blonde-headed young man dragging JK around in your backyard, that'd be my son and the man that speaks to elk. So just be aware.
Tell him if he doesn't see any to stop by. We can point him out from the deck here.
Well, I'm kind of irritated at Donnie. He said, well, I'm going to hold out for a 330 or better. I said, you need to shoot the first one that you see with horns on it because you may not get another chance. So opening morning, midday, passed on a spike, and now they're struggling. So
yeah. Well, that happens.
All right, so meet Paula Pedene. She is the director. Is that correct?
Coordinator.
Whatever.
Whatever, the Grand Poobah.
The Grand Poobah of the Veterans Day Parade for Phoenix. So you're in good company. Mr. Thor is here today.
The not Poobah.
Nice. Yes.
I've been following online, so it sounds like it's going to be a great time down there.
Aww.
Yeah, it's always fun to have either one of these folks in the studio. Listen, what's the mood for Donald Trump up there in downtown Payson?
It's 1,000%.
Okay.
There's not. I mean, this is just, my wife made this observation. She said that around Payson and even around Rim Country, even heading out towards like Heber and Diamond Point area, there's Trump signs everywhere.
Nice.
And there's none for Hillary. I don't know if they just don't put them out.
They're scared.
Embarrassed to say that they're going to vote for her or what the deal is. But
no, we call those targets. Anyway, I'm going to be bad. I don't want to do that. Listen, what's on the fishing report for the Mother Lake Roosevelt?
The big thing is that it looks like the Bureau of Reclamation, Salt River Project, they have slowed down the amount of water that they're taking out of Roosevelt. This is just a couple days ago that they did this. It's down into 100 cubic acre feet per day rather than a couple of thousand cubic acre feet. So as a result of that, we've gone from 34% full to 35% full in just a few days of them slowing down. We had some rain up here, mostly on the Salt River end. The salt is flowing at about 160% of its normal rate. Funnel Creek is still a little bit behind, but geez, we're off to a good start. If this can go on for the next few months up here, we'll be in good shape for Roosevelt Lake come next spring. The other thing that's happening is we talked about this cooler ambient temperature. The water temperature continues to fall down there. Fishing was actually downgraded, and it usually doesn't get very downgraded for Roosevelt. But now we're in the mid to high 60s for a water temperature, and that seems to have either impacted the fish or moved them somewhere. Guys were just struggling trying to find schools of fish this past week, and most think it's because the water temperature is starting to fall. But I was talking to Clifford, and he gave a really good point last week. He said that if the water continues to come up, even slightly, that if there's any new growth of plant life along the shoreline that's going underwater, that's where you want to fish. So if you know of a grassy area of a lake towards Roosevelt, in the backs of coves where it's a little bit green, that's the area that you probably want to be this week.
Anybody chasing fish with the rattle trap? That's a good way to locate fish this time of year.
Yep.
Turn and burn.
You're too good at this, Don. Yeah, absolutely right. The rattle trap and what they were saying is up on the salt end where that water's coming in, it's just a little bit stained up there just because of the increased flow, and that was working well. But so were spinner baits and paddle tail swim baits, and we still get lots of reports this time of year because fish are pretty dispersed throughout the lake. This time of year, they're not, the water temperature allows them to go deep and shallow. So you'll find them most anywhere. But definitely a rattle trap is a good reaction bait, is a good thing to do.
Good stuff. Would you prefer the black back or the blue back?
I'm always, Roosevelt to me is a green and blue colored lake.
Okay, yep.
I would probably go with the blue, but that's just my personal preference.
Okay, what color eyes? Red or the clear with the black?
Always red.
What?
Always red.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, that sounds
For
like
me. Now, this is my preference.
That sounds like a challenge. Okay.
A small bit of red on any bait looks like an injured bait fish to me. So that's why I go that way.
All right, we'll talk about that. I have some thoughts on that. Okay.
I'm going to get a call from the Bass Daddy on the way.
Well, I need to share this with everybody on there because what we do in the salt water doesn't necessarily always apply to freshwater. So, just quickly, if you have an anchovy and it's got a bloody nose, shake it off. They're not going to eat it. Serious. Now, I will with a little mustard sauce. They're excellent. What?
I like anchovy. So, yeah, I'm one of those. I like it.
Right out of the bait tank, you snip the head off.
That I have
snip
not
the
tried.
tail off. And
I get mine in a
yum.
can.
They're the problem with anchovies is really hard to fillet.
And not a lot of meat on them.
Yeah. All right, back to you, James, quickly.
Good deal. Hey, crappie fishing is over the top. November is the month crappie fish on Roosevelt Lake. You want to be fishing in 20 to 25 feet of water. You want to be using a bait called a little fishy or a small curly tail bait on a small 1/8 ounce jig head. But that little fishy bait, check it out. Go online, LIL''fishy, FISHY.
Does that come in a John Deere color?
Haven't seen that. The two colors that it comes in is it's kind of a silver metal flake body with a blue back.
Yep. Okay. Good enough.
Killer. 30 crappie in less than an hour. Just saying.
All right. What else you got on your list?
The rim lakes, nobody's up there fishing. I actually had trouble finding people that had gone up on the rim, but the guys that did go up said that fishing is spectacular. The water's getting colder up there. You wear a winter jacket because it's that cold up on the rim. but both wet and dry flies were reported successful this week.
Well, there's a reason for that. There's two words that do not belong in the same sentence. That is ice and fishing. Or in your case, frost and fishing.
Right. We're not too far away. We only have, a few weeks to get up there and get some good fishing in. But, for you fly fishermen, now's the time to go up there. There's nobody around. You can have a great time.
As it should be. They should be isolated.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Good enough. Anything else? We've got to get to roll call. We have, 6 fallen law enforcement officers we need to talk about, and a number of servicemen that have been killed in theater this past week.
Yeah. I'll be listening to that online, too.
All right, you always do a good job, James. God bless you, and we appreciate your involvement here at Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Check them out, Rim Country Custom Rods, not a rod builder in the U.S. than James Guggenauer. All righty, Paula, while we're here, we're running kind of late today with all the stuff we're doing. I want to tell you a little bit about the roll call we have today. We've lost 3 servicemen over in Jordan, were killed coming into the base. We don't have their names as of yet. They have not been released through DOD. That takes a little bit. In Al Jafar Air Base, they were attacked with small arms fire. DOD's calling it mutual fire, so our guys got to shoot back. And anyway, there were 3 of them that were shot and killed last week. We have a couple of other, what did I do with it? A couple other incidents in Baghdad. A soldier died on Thursday from wounds sustained in a bombing. This was done on, I believe that was, last Thursday. That was an IED attack. And then at Makhmur Air Base outside one of the ISIS-held cities, there was another bombing attack. The Marines were performing force protection fire, and this particular serviceman died in a rocket attack near the base. And our hearts and prayers and our thoughts go out to those guys. I don't see this getting any better. We've got about 6,000 troops in Iraq right now engaged in the Mosul attack, which I think has been orchestrated by President Obama and Clinton as a distraction to the election. The election, yeah. Help me out with some of these. We'll be brief on these. We've got Deputy Sheriff Dan Glaze out of Rusk County, Wisconsin, 33 years old, was killed on the 29th. And Sergeant Anthony Demonino, Des Moines, Iowa, was killed on November 2nd. Anthony was shot, and another police officer was wounded as they were sitting in their patrol car. We're getting more and more of this. Police officer Justin Martin, Urbandale Police Department out of Iowa, 24 years old, was shot and killed in an ambush attempt. What do you got on yours?
Deputy Sheriff Jack Hopkins from Modoc County Sheriff's Office in California. And a Sergeant Alan Brandt from Fairbanks Police Department in Alaska.
And then we had another incident in New York City. 2 officers were ambushed. Paul Tuzalalo, 41 years old, was a 19-year-old veteran. These guys were ambushed, shot, and killed. And his partner, Emmanuel Kuo, 9-year veteran, was wounded in the leg. He's expected to recover. But my point in all of this is we have to support all of our military and law enforcement officers, first responders, whatever the case may be. And as before and as always, our heartfelt condolences to their families, to their units, and the folks they left behind. Price has a freedom. This is it.
Amen, brother.
Give it a thought. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're going to get this thing wrapped up and get on with the day. I want to thank you for occupying my time today with washing and primping and changing batteries and bleeding the fuel system. And you're going to come over and do windows?
Absolutely.
Okay. Be a hot dog in it for you. Okay, Miss Paula, let's have the rundown on the parade. What time, where, and all the stats.
So Friday, November 11th, it is on Veterans Day at 11 a.m., south on Central, east on Camelback, south on 7th Street, from Montebello to Montecito. That's probably the easiest way to remember it. You get best seats on Camelback right now because Central's pretty full and 7th Street is pretty full. It's hard to get into Camelback, that's why. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you for participating. And
I love it.
It's all designed to honor America's veterans. We thank them for their service.
We've had the honor of having John Colazar, whom you know. His dad was a World War II private in the Army. Kat, you need to meet this guy. He was in every bad place that you could be in the European theater. He was at Bastogne. You know, and on and on and on. Right. I mean, just sit down and talking to Mr. Colazar.
I love our older generation of soldiers, all of them, from Vietnam to Korea to world. I love to just sit there and listen. I just want to hear their stories.
I overheard.
I love it. I can sit there for days and just sit there and listen.
Sergeant Andy Gettle, who works on helicopters for the National Guard. He's been with us a number of years. He and Mr. Colazar got into a conversation, and I looked at Andy. I go, "What's the matter?" Andy kind of had a little teary-eyed, and he's thinking. He said, "You know, the stuff that these guys went through, and you start thinking of the technological advances just in clothing. Those guys froze to death."
Yeah.
Okay, and Andy spent a number of tours all over the place, and he said, I'm sitting here listening to this story, and I'm feeling kind of chagrined because I'd have to bitch when I got back to my tent to get on my internet, to send messages home, right? So I mean, things change, but the fact of the matter is these guys are in harm's way, and
that's one of my favorite things is to
paying a price.
Go to these veterans, and it's a two-edged response. I have to say thank you for what you did. Thank you for giving us, supporting the liberties that we have. And I'm sorry that we screwed it up.
Yeah, well, I think that's why we've been on the Trump train since the beginning. Doug and I have had differences. He supported Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz certainly is a upstanding guy, but we didn't think Donald was going to go all the way, but he did, and hopefully he'll make the cut on November 8th, and I'm real serious. We've been poking fun at build a wall and drain the swamp. He needs to do that. We've got some stuff up on my Facebook page, and we've got a lot of establishment Republicans. John Kasich just came out and said he wrote in John McCain. Well, John Kasich, Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, they're all losers. And if they can't support, and Jeff Flake, I'm going to add Jeff Flake in here too. You were elected as a Republican to support the constituency that represents the Republican Party. If you can't do that, you need to step down voluntarily and go find another job.
Join the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're doing, and that's exactly what John Casey's done. We've been working real hard in Colorado and in Utah with our neighbors up there. The Seven McMullen's polling 27% of the votes from either Hillary, which is fine, or Donald Trump. He's a third-party guy. He's a spoiler, and he won't admit that. He's just an idiot. Yeah. And how that happens in Utah is beyond me, and I'm not even going to get into the
Johnson and Stein.
Yeah, well, we've seen it time again, and anyway, this is boiling down. This is not an election for the next 4 years. It's an election for the next 40 years, and Donald Trump's concerned about our Second Amendment, the Supreme Court. He's got his 100-day contract out with America, all the things he's going to do. I believe he's going to do it. I've talked to him. I've talked to Junior. And, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's our last hope.
No joke.
Absolutely.
I believe that this election is the crux turning point for our country.
Well, November 9th, we still have a fight on the conservation side for hunting and fishing, Second Amendment and all that. I'm looking forward to November 9th to see what we have to fight. If we have a Trump administration, that's one thing. If we've got the corruption of the Clinton cartel, we've got a hell of a bigger fight. So, I mean, no different than we have right now, but we're going to engage in a little bit different fashion.
Yeah, we need about 50 million Americans marching on Washington saying you're all fired.
Yeah.
I like Kat's idea.
Well, you're talking about the Vietnam guys. You look at the Bikers for Trump. There's a bazillion of them, and the bulk of them are Vietnam guys. Do the math.
Right.
Okay. So, anyway, anything to add on your behalf?
I would like to say we do have a website this year. So it's PhoenixVeteransDayParade.org. And from there, they can like us on Facebook and Instagram as well, and they'll get all the information, all the marshals, the route, where to sit, those kinds of things that they don't remember.
Very cool.
Phoenix Veterans Day Parade.
Parade.org.
.org. And you too can be there if you can escape Anthem.
Oh, that's right.
I may actually skip Anthem this year.
Okay.
You could ride with Don.
That's it.
He's got a nice truck.
It's a good time. We'll have Congressman Paul Gosar, nice guy. My hope for Arizona, if we could have all of our elected officials as good as Paul Gosar, the game would be over. He is one of the most dedicated congressmen I've ever seen. Two guys, we've been involved in politics this year, back and forth to Washington, D.C., in and out of various states, 6 states in 5 days, that kind of thing. And Chris Stewart out of Utah. Chris Stewart, Congressman, Senator Mike Lee, Orrin Hatch did a wonderful job on behalf of Mr. Trump the other day on the Hannity show, and those guys are awesome. I tried to trade, not that I could, but if I could trade Jeff Flake for Chris Stewart, I'd certainly do that, but Utah didn't want anything to do with Mr. Flake.
Yeah, neither do we.
Well, Kelly Ward made a pretty hard run at John McCain this year. Didn't do very well, but she's already announced plans to go after Mr. Flake's seat.
Good for her. I like Kelly.
Yeah, I think that's a battle she can win. So, give your Dark Horse Unlimited information out, if you would.
DarkhorseUnlimited.com. You go to our classes, you see all the upcoming classes, the American Readiness Coalition program that we've got launching in the beginning of January.
Oops, that's a new one. Explain that.
Oh, it's a focusing on the 6 core areas of training: tactical, survival, sustainability.
Not guarding the border.
No.
Okay.
But it's constitutionally oriented. We're trying to get people to come together and work together as groups and train together. So it's not just about individuals. It's, also having the major problem I get from people when I teach them about preparedness planning is they don't have some place to go. If they have to, there's a catastrophe in Phoenix, they have to bug out, they have to evacuate, they have nowhere to go. So we're trying to not only establish.
I'm going to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me know ahead of time, otherwise
you're not
going to get very close.
You see a big tan M923 coming down the New River Wash, that'd be me.
Yeah, well.
I'm either going to make it to your house or I'll make it to Jim Unmock's place. All righty, that's it for us. I appreciate you guys listening. We'll have an update next week on how the boys are doing on the elk hunt. November 9th, please, 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 go vote.
November 8th.
Trump.
8th.
November 8th. Vote Hillary on November 9th.
Okay. There you go. Build a wall, drain the swamp, lock her up, make America great again, or make it Venezuela. I'm Don McDowell.
Paula Pedene.
And
Cat Thor.
God love you guys. Hey, have a great day. Take your kids fishing, hug your bass boat, go to the parade. We're out of here.